Everyone has these dipshit pre-recorded podcasts, like, they actually, like, they're actually going to be seen or something. Usually when a really popular genre really makes it really big on YouTube, everyone decides to make their own version of it, and suddenly you have this influx of a bunch of shitty videos out there. And so you have the same thing happened with gaming, same thing happened with storytime animation, same thing happened with what was it called? What was it called? Leafy made it really popular. Commentary channels, and so on. And so podcasts, everyone and their mother is making their own podcasts. Donkey has one. H3 made it pretty popular. Donkey of all people have a podcast. That's silly. Not that I'm hating on it. I do like the podcast. That makes sense. YouTube as in general craves. The algorithm supposedly really craves long videos to keep to not only so that the people can place more advertisements in the videos, but also just to keep the user keep the watcher, the viewers watching for a longer period of time. So you know what, I decided, hey, what the heck, I'll make my own podcast. If I get bored of it, I'll just stop making podcasts. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to record myself talking about a specific subject, and things will be peachy. So, what exactly am I going to talk about? Well, if you are not watching this and it's just background noise for you, I have made... I am going to be talking about Chrome and Firefox, and their my problems that I personally have with them, honestly. So a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I started using the browser WaterFox, and WaterFox it was essentially really just it started off as Firefox being recompiled for 64-bit computers, and over time it sort of became its own thing. An easy example I can give you is that there was the ability to be able to install whatever extensions you wanted. They didn't have to be signed. You could just install the extension. And a few years ago, right around when Firefox 65 or whatever it was, 57, whatever Quantum was getting really popular, I guess around 2017 when I was just coming out, I switched to Firefox because I wanted to give it a try, and I got very used to it. I very much missed a classic theme restore, but that's fine, that's whatever. But I got very used to Firefox, and then I stopped. Not that I stopped. I just during the beginning of the year, there was this problem. There was this What happened was that, for whatever reason, whatever certificate was signing the Firefox extensions, just stopped. It just stopped. All the extensions that you had installed would just stop working. They just stopped working for about, I think it was less than 12 hours. Everything was fine, but it made me realize, why do extensions even have to be signed? Like, what's the whole point of that? I should be able to install whatever extensions I want. They shouldn't have to be going through some verification server or whatever. The whole entire idea, in my opinion, of using any software in a computer really is that it's your bitch. It's you use it, it bends to your will. You shouldn't be having any rules about it. And I understand in some circumstances, like Netflix, Spotify, something that needs a DRM. I understand that. Not that I like it. Not that I like DRM. I hate DRM, but I think that I sort of kind of understand it in a way. But extensions of all things, so I stopped using Firefox and I went to a different browser. I wanted to shake things up a little bit, because something about the whole, again, like I said, something about the whole signed add-ons just didn't really sit well with me. So I moved to Chromium, and the reason I went with Chromium instead of straight up Chrome was because with Chromium, your extensions didn't have to be signed. You could install them anywhere. Not only that, but I think there was I think there was a few other things I don't particularly remember, so I guess they weren't really that important. And that's all well and good. I was a little wary about actually going with Chromium at first because every single browser is being based on a Blink Chromium, and that's there's the whole monopoly thing. If everybody is using this type of browser, it could be really hard for competition. Example, there was that whole thing about Internet Explorer. If everybody's using Internet Explorer, what's the point of seeing if other browsers can render this website well? And so, everyone. But yeah, I had a whole problem with it. I don't want to get too into it because I don't really care. This is not about Internet Explorer. This is about Chrome, and a problem I've had with it very recently. So, apparently, in an upcoming build of Chrome, I don't know if it's now, because I don't use Chrome much anymore. I mean, not that I used Chrome much anymore. I don't use mainline Chrome as Chromium. Apparently, they might be blocking the ability for you to use an ad blocker. So stuff like uBlock Origin, AdBlock Plus, all those different types of ad blockers that you might use. They'll just stop working. It just won't work. They will block the ability for that to happen. And this is not really much about ad blockers. I don't care if they want to do that. I will move to a different browser if they don't let me use my ad blocker. But this is more so about how much influence the Google Chrome that Google Chrome has right now. Firefox, literally Microsoft Edge, literally the browser that comes pre-installed on every single Windows computer, is soon going to be using Chromium / Blink, whatever. I'll just call it Chromium from now on. Is soon going to be using Chromium as their base, and if Chrome is able to do this successfully, other Chrome-based browsers are going to be doing this too. Microsoft will probably make it so that you can't install AdBlock on their browser. Opera might do the same thing. All sorts of Vivaldi. And I doubt Vivaldi and Opera and Microsoft Edge's Edge Chromium will actually really do anything. I'm sure they respect their users. No, this is not about that. This is about the influence that Chrome has. If Chrome can do this successfully, then all those other browsers will probably do the same thing. I don't see Firefox following in the footsteps. Firefox has always been has always had this edge towards Chrome in customization and stuff like that, but really doing whatever you want with it. But other than excuse me, other than the whole thing about Firefox not sending extensions, they're also turning off userchrome.css by default. And you know what happens when things like that happen. Eventually, somewhere along the line, probably the ability to customize Firefox with user Chrome CSS and user Chrome user content just be phased out in its entirety. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't really know how that shit works. I just use it. But you could tell me. Let's just use a different browser. I want you to name me 2 browsers, more than 3, 4, or 5 browsers that are not based off of Chromium and Firefox. You can't. Other than Safari, but Safari has been exclusive to Mac OS, and seriously, there's not a lot of extensions on Safari because you have to pay to host your extensions. Because I guess they have to be signed, and again, leads us to the whole thing about extensions, add-ons. Again, I'm not going to use Safari at all. And you could use a fork of a Firefox or Chrome or something. I mean, that's the power of open source again. But am I just don't know really. I might just end up using WaterFox again. I think the whole idea of what mostly worries me about using something like WaterFox or IceCat or ungoogled Chromium or something like that. Again, I don't know if Chromium specifically won't let you use ad blocks, but I'm sure some fork will allow you to. In a way, you're still kind of supporting the company that makes these browsers. I mean, they do what you want, and that's great. But I mean, I don't really know how to put it. I'm kind of realizing how stupid this is all kind of sounds in a way. I don't know. I'll probably end up going ahead and using WaterFox again, even though I'm in a very bad position with Firefox as of recently. And again, I don't know if it's Chromium, mainline Chrome or Chromium that is removing ad blocking abilities its entirety. Hey, if it's not being removed from Chromium, I might continue to just keep on using Chromium. But if it is, and I'm gonna be having to use a fork of Chrome, and I might as well just use go back to basics. The browser I had originally used, which was WaterFox. Since, I mean, hey, if I'm going to be using a fork, I might as well just use a fork of something I know a little more. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. I didn't exactly do any research. Other than the articles that have been popping up, I didn't exactly do much research before making this video. So if there's something I said wrong, call me out. Obviously, I want to get better. The production quality is probably never going to increase at all. Who knows? But yeah, that's about it. I'm not going to edit this video, other than putting the title card over the video, obviously. But yeah. Thanks for watching.